Hello, everyone. Okay. Thank you, Christian, for the rocket chips. Appreciate that. All right. So let's just jump right in. Where we were prior, end of last class, is we're in the middle of a discussion on the second problem of meditation, which is what? Oh God, I did this joke at the beginning of last class. Don't make me do it again.
Forgetting instruction.
What was that?
Forgetting instruction.
Nice. Forgetting the instructions. Somebody remembered. Thank you. Right. And what does forgetting the instructions mean, actually?
Forgetting the object?
Right. Losing the object. Correct. Like the object of meditation flies off and you move to a different object. Now, what a mind, like your mind is always on an object. A mind is always focused on something. So it's kind of oftentimes you hear people say meditation, clear your mind, don't think about anything, and it's kind of not, well, it's not true. Your mind, the mind itself always focuses on something. There's always some object under focus, under consideration, awareness, or something like that. So let's not debate it now, but how does one have a perception of emptiness, which is something that's not coming from seeds? How can your mind perceive an absence? We'll talk about that much later. That's going to be the next chapter of Pabon Rinpoche's book when we actually get there. So the idea really, so that what we're talking about here is, what is it like to hold on to the object, right? So when we lose the object, when we go off on a tangent, when we, the mind is designed to go everywhere. That's it. The mind, it just goes from awareness to awareness. Like it's not judicious about what it's aware of, right? It's just awareness, and it's awareness of, and whatever that of is whatever is ripening for you at the time. So it goes to wherever it's, it tends to go. There's patterns. You can learn your patterns. It's really useful to understand what you are attracted to habitually when you're trying to meditate on one thing and your mind goes elsewhere. All good stuff. Good seed planting opportunities, good opportunities for you to take to your psychologist and sit on the couch and talk about, because there are probably reasons why, and if you want to do that, it's completely valid and recommended. And how do we bring it back? So the idea is lose the object, bring it back. That's the solution. Yay, thanks, Pabonka. Thanks, Kamala Sheila. Lose the object, bring it back. Yay, that's great. What does that really mean, right? And how do we do that? We'll learn more instructions later. The gist of it is bringing awareness to the fact that you've lost the object and developing that skill, developing that recognition that you're not doing what you intended to do. And then you bring it back. It just says bring it back. How do you bring it back? That's not what the text doesn't really describe how to bring it back. So I don't like to get upset with myself. I'm already pretty hard on myself. I know a lot of you tend to have that same problem too. highly judgmental, self-deprecating, and thinking that you're doing something wrong. And then you go through this whole series of things to keep feeling that way. And I'm allowed to talk about it because that's me. Okay. Self-deprecation, shame. Don't bring that into your meditation. That's the more it's like you're making a habit of it by bringing it into your meditation when you lose the object. Just recognize that that's what your mind does. It goes to another place. And this comes from my teachers, and this has really helped me settle into meditation. When you're off the object, the recognition that you're off the object is the meditation. Until you establish stability on one object, which doesn't come until stage 4, right? Until you have stability on a single object, relative stability. Yes, you're still going to have agitation and dullness and things like that. But once you have a relatively good, stable object, like they say, being able to do one mala bead, one mala, all 108. Now, which mantra are we going to do for 108? That's up for debate. Okay. You could do this 100 syllable mantra for 108 times, and that takes a little bit of time. Or you could do Om 108 times. I don't know what the difference is, but the point is 108 repetitions of a mantra is a decent amount of time to be on an object. So, Tim, are you telling me I should count the mantras when I'm on the object? Which object am I supposed to be on? Counting the mantras or focusing on the object? Don't ask silly questions. Okay. But the point is once you establish stability, then there's a whole other series of problems, which we're going to start talking about today. And the meditation in the beginning, and this is why you need to know all the steps, because you have to know where you are to know what antidotes to apply and what to do in those meditations. So the meditation is you go to the golden room, you look at your teacher's eyes, fine. You focus on your teacher's body, which is what Pabon Rinpoche suggests. Then, how long do you stay there? 2 seconds, 3 seconds, I don't know, 15? Yesterday, 2 days ago, I had a really good meditation. It was 45 seconds. My friend got a cold plunge at her house. The water is 10 degrees Celsius. Okay. I stayed in for 45 seconds. It's like, right? Talk about coming to the object, right? Now that's not a real that's not the meditation we're talking about. But I lasted the first time I lasted 10 seconds. And then I got out and I realized I was fine. Right? My like fight or flight response was like, okay, you're fine. So then I did it again and I lasted 45 seconds. And it's kind of like that with meditation. You're going to build up your capacity to stay on the object. And really, it's, a cold plunge meditation is actually kind of the intensity. We're going to get into some definitions today. That's the kind of intensity that you would experience physically in a cold plunge, where then you're there, is the kind of intensity that you would want on your object in a meditation when you're just chilling out on your cushion. Right? That kind of intensity. Not to the point where you're getting a fight or flight response and your heart rate is going up, and not like that. But there's a type of focus that happens. But so you build up. And so the meditation is recognizing when you're off the object. When you're off the object and you recognize that you're off, that's the solution. That's the meditation. And that's what you should recognize, that, oh, I'm now off the object. I was supposed to be in the golden room. I'm now on breakfast, or I'm now on the list of things that I didn't do last night, or the things that somebody said to me yesterday, or the way that I'm going to, this is my favorite, the way that I'm going to prove to someone that I am right and they're wrong. Right? That's my favorite meditation. And so burn that. If there's one thing you burn into your mind in this class, is if you don't yet have somewhat of a single pointed focus, the meditation is bringing yourself back. The meditation is rejoicing in recognizing that you were off the object. That's the success in the meditation. And then you just bring yourself back gently. Don't force it, right? Don't force it back. Just hug it. Be like, hey, buddy, let's go back here. The best is when you say, hey, let's go back here. And your mind goes, yay, let's go back. And then like before you get back, you're somewhere else. That's my favorite. And then you just become buddies with your mind. Like you're just best friends. Right. So that's where we left it off. And here we go. Roxana, could you please oh, you're still eating breakfast. How about Natalia? Could you read this part here? Yes, you in the pink shirt. Or red, or I don't know. There's probably an official name for that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Drenpa Yankun Tas La
Tule.
Tule
Nice.
Dranpa Gang Chena Tri Pai Nyokpo La Semki Dred.
J, just
J.
there's mainly that's J.
Yeah. Pamet Pai Last Can No.
Nice. So this is just like, and the S, the sa at the end is, so it makes, instead of la, it makes it a pronunciation of lay.
Lay.
Yes. Chenda. Yes. Good job. Nice. Your reading's getting really good. Okay, so Drenpa is the solution. Okay. Which is, it's interesting because Drenpa doesn't, we get different meanings of Drenpa, right? It means recollection. All right. But the way that we typically talk about it is keeping your mind on the object, right? It's like reminding yourself to stay on the object. Like it's remembering to stay there, Drenpa. Okay. But we typically translate it as keeping your mind there. But you have to understand that there's a lot of little layers to Trempa. It's the remembering where you should be and bringing yourself back onto it. Right? So in the compendium, the Kuntu, which compendium? Thank you, Pabonka, because we're supposed to know what the compendium is, because he was teaching to a group of students who are already familiar with all of the texts. So he just says in the compendium, and this is which compendium, which is a compilation of teachings. There's many compilations of teachings, right? So this is specifically Master Asanga's compendium on Abhidharma, if anyone cares where it's from. All right. So Trempa, Kangshena, like if you were to ask, like, what does it mean to keep the mind on the object? Trempa. All right. It's a mental state, like a sem, a mental state Jipa Mepa, where we don't forget. All right, where we don't forget the object. All right, the nupo, which we typically have not been using this word for object. Does anyone remember what word we've been using for meditation object? I moved the screen so you couldn't see it. It was in the next line. It's not really that important, but just for your, okay, the Mikten. They're synonyms. It's just for us to, just so you know, there's a synonym, right? And Tripa here, Tripa means accustomed to, like another word for gom. So it's a state of mind that's accustomed to not forgetting the object. So literally what this means is possessing an action, okay? Having the action of not forgetting an object that you become accustomed to. And so that's kind of a cool way of thinking about it, because you bring to mind an object over and over and over again to become accustomed to it. And then you eventually become accustomed to it. And then you rest your awareness on it kind of automatically by accustoming yourself to it, right? The first time you looked at Tibetan, you were like, what? But you just been looking at it. That's why I put it on the screen, right? You just look at it over and over and over again. And eventually you're just like, you become accustomed to seeing things and you start seeing patterns and then you start focusing on it. When you first looked at it, you were probably like, what? You know, that's what happens when you're first meditation objects. Your brain is like, oh, we're going to meditate. We're going to meditate on our teacher's eyes. Great. And then it's like, you're not accustomed to it. You haven't burned those pathways. You haven't made those, you know, in neurological terms, you haven't burnt the neurological pathway to like have that object in your mind, right? So what Drempa means, the recollection, is that you become accustomed to an object over and over and over again, which is an opposite way of saying what we said before. Focus on your teacher's eyes. Now I'm thinking about how I'm going to be right. Oh, no, Tim, we're thinking about our teacher. Bring it back. Look again. Now I'm thinking about the coffee I'm going to have afterwards. Bring it back, right? And that's you're accustoming yourself over and over again. So then you can rest on that object and not have other objects interfere. And we learned in this is why I love, I don't know, it just seems to always fit. We were just learning in Shanti Deva's class an hour ago. What's the karmic correlation? Why does your mind not stay there? That's the interesting thing. Like if you could just focus your mind and just say, hey, mind, focus, turn on focus mode, right? You can take drugs to turn on focus mode, but then it doesn't stay, right? But turn on focus mode. If you could just turn on focus mode, then we wouldn't need classes like this, right? It'd be so great to turn on the focus mode. My phone has focus mode, but it doesn't keep me meditating. It just doesn't give me notifications, right? Because that dang thing will make noises and make, you know, will blink at me and stuff like that, right? But we learned in Shantideva's class the We need to have the seeds for it. And one of the main seeds, not all of them, but one of the main seeds is worrying about other people as much as you worry about yourself. Why? And I was thinking about this, like my habitual problem of like, ruminating on why other people are wrong and why I'm right. Right? Why they hurt me, why they were incurring all these things. Right? And if I actually start, instead of thinking of me, why Tim was hurt, think about why they were hurt. Why are they behaving in a certain way? Why are they doing those things? Why are they acting that way? Why are they not open to hearing my right point of view? Why are they, whatever it is. But if I move myself into a place of compassion, then I can start thinking more about, well, that person's had a pretty shitty life. The example I always have in mind is, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I have a person who's always in mind because they've had very difficult things happen and they haven't addressed them, in the sense of like they had a pretty terrible childhood. There was some sexual abuse. The way that they handled it and navigated it, at the time was really admirable. And it's created a whole pattern of living in their work and professional life that is very clear. This person was hurt, like they were deeply, deeply hurt. So I could argue with them about something they're not really conscious of. They're like 5% conscious, right? The consciousness they have is they told me one night, we were having dinner and they told me. But that's the only they don't see the awareness, they don't see the thing that happened. And then all the habits, patterns, protections, emotional difficulties, physical difficulties, relationship difficulties, that came from the sexual abuse. Right. So they're over here, behaving in a certain way that if I'm only thinking of me and I'm like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you're doing that at work. Right. And then I'm like only thinking of me. Then in my meditation, I'm like, how am I going to make this person change? Or do I go, oh, let me just think about them a little bit more than not think about me, think about them. Then it just frankly, it relaxes the whole situation. And even the meditation stops. I stop trying to solve the problem the wrong way. You see? Because they're incredibly suffering, a suffering that I don't know. And I hope that I never have to know. You see, so then all of a sudden meditation can be much better because I've thought of them. At one point they're my enemy, then the other point they're someone that I can take care of. Nothing has changed. They're still behaving like they're behaving, right? But then they change their behavior when I change my behavior. So that's for a different class. You become accustomed to the object. And how do you plant the seed? Start thinking about other people more and thinking of yourself less. But don't stop thinking about yourself. Just start including others in thinking. Okay, you don't drop thinking about yourself. All right, Roxanne, are you done with your yogurt?
Ice cream, please.
Oh, much better. All right, what flavor? That's the most important question.
It was vanilla and blueberry.
So delicious. All right, next line, please.
Shesum patar, yulki kepar, mikten, ngar, tong nyongwe, nampai, ngor kom shing dripei, nopola mikpa.
Nice. she did something really good here. I'm going to point it out. Can you repeat the pronunciation of this word, please?
Kom.
One more time.
Kom.
Okay. So she did not use English G. She used more of a guttural K in English. Okay. It's not gom, it's comb. And if you say gom, it's actually a different word. All right. Which means accustomed to. Okay. Without it, it means, what does it mean with the comb? Anybody? Excuse me, I'm backwards. This means meditation. Say, Tim. Gom is meditation. What does it mean without it?
Isn't it habitual?
Habituation, yes, exactly. So these are synonyms, gom and dripa. Okay. So what is this saying? What is this line saying? All right. The feature of the feature, okay, the quality of what we're talking about is that in the mind, you've already seen it. Okay. You're focusing on something you've already seen. All right. You've already had it in front of the mind. It's been brought to mind habitually. So you're bringing something to mind over and over again. And this is just a glossing of this line here, which is up here. Dripa Nopola, okay? They're both, sorry, don't know how to, come on, Tim. Learn your keyboard strokes. Anyway, you can see them. We'll do it this way. How about that? Haha, solve the problem. Okay, it's just glossing from the quote. Habituating the object. Here's another word for object. Here's the meditation object. Something that you habitually bring to the front of your mind because you've already seen it. Okay. Sorry. In light of already having seen it. I've already seen the object. Okay. So it's another way of saying you just bring it to mind over and over again. All right, next line. How about Anavako? You haven't read for quite a while.
Zinten kiat parmikten jinampa ma gen
Maje,
patu
maje,
majet majet patu черва теренпа
Perna.
Рена. Ток ток це сеца.
Say. So there's a lower tone here. Say.
Сей.
Mm-hmm.
Ненк джер. Ренпа. Зинденк.
Nice. Good job. Reading's getting really good too. All right, here we go. So another feature of the meditation object is how it's being held, sintang. Like, how are you holding it? All right. What does it mean to be holding it? It's appearing to the mind continuously. Okay. And you haven't forgotten it. Mache. So, meaning you haven't forgotten the object when it appears to the mind continuously. There's just a different way of saying the same thing. For example, does anyone know what tok means? At the moment of being hungry, all right, you bring your mind back to dinner, to eating, okay, spontaneously, like continuously, unwaveringly, hung there, right? You're hungry and you keep bringing your mind back continuously, spontaneously to dinner, right? So that's why we always use this. I mean, this is a classical example. So we don't just say, oh, you're thinking of in meditation, your mind goes off to dinner. It's a scriptural thing, right? Your mind goes to dinner when you're hungry. So what is this implying? Don't meditate when you're hungry. Okay, because your mind will overtake it. It also means, but it doesn't mean eat so much that you get dull, right? There's a sweet time before you get hungry after you've eaten where you can meditate really well, like first thing in the morning before you engage breakfast. It's really difficult to meditate after lunch. At least it is for me. Right after dinner, forget it. Because you're either too full and then all of the energy of your body is focused on digestion. But if you're too empty, all you're going to do is think about dinner. Say, just food. All right, let's go on. Nothing more interesting there. How about Jackie?
I have to apologize because I'm in my pajamas and I don't think I've ever done this class not in my pajamas. I laughed when the guy said that earlier.
Nice, congratulations. It's a good way to learn Tibetan in your pajamas.
Yedla ki yadparni mig pad dila zandu
Delay.
dile zandu semi
Troar.
troar
Mm-hmm.
yedpa si
Te.
Hey, Yad
Ch.
Ch
Mm-hmm.
Don Ying Go.
Good. Nice.
Good.
Sumdan Shik. Nice. All right. And finally, there's another quality of the meditation object we've already talked about. Mitroar, not flying off. Like a troa is kind of a let me see here. Actually, Jackie had it earlier on her screen. So if you look at Jackie's screen, see how the light, I'm going to highlight you here. Let me stop doing this. See how the light here on her screen behind her is kind of spreading, right? Because the camera can't handle, like it's trying to do both things, right? That spreading of the light is is a troa. All right. So what we're saying here is, right? right? It's not spreading out, right? To others, okay? It's not going out to other objects. It's not, and I love that imagery because that's literally what it's like. Like our meditations are like that. It's like, it's just a light and it's just going all over the place. And whatever the light shines on is whatever you think about. Okay. And then, so basically what we can say is that it gets summed up is that it possesses three qualities, three typical qualities. This state of mind that is on the object has three particular qualities. All right. And what are those qualities? We just did them, but we're going to review it again. How about, let's see here. How about Veronica? Have you read yet? Not today.
Денait.
Ye? Just ye.
Go.
Nor.
Go.
No,
Gel.
no G. It's one sound. It's a nasal. I don't do it very well. Nor.
Nor.
Like, yeah.
Nor. Okay. Nor. Gel. Vekuta. Vu. Dun. Do. Sal. Depa. Deni. Mikpa. Yin. Delami. Yen. Va. Zin. Tan. Damring.
Tring. Dumb tring.
Damtring. Nge.
That's another one of the one sound, the nasal. Ne. Newe. Newe.
Neva.
Newe.
Neve. Zin. Sin. Mikpa. Denona. Or what is it?
Kona.
Kona. Kona. Cha. Va. Yetpa.
Jeba.
Jeba. Jeba. Go.
Nice. Good job.
Thank you.
All right. That was a hard sentence. So the first thing we're doing here is this is a great word to learn, sandepa. This is what we're doing in meditation. We're visualizing, right? And it's kind of, visualize is an okay word, but different people can do different things in their mind, but it's bringing the object to your mind. So when you shut off your senses, your mind is focused on an object. That's sandepa. Okay. Sandepa to the front of the mind, in front of us. And it's so, and we've used this image. It's like the holy body of the Buddha. All right. So the first quality of these three, is that you're visualizing in the front of your mind some object, like the holy body of the Buddha. Did it again. Okay. In front of your mind. Okay, you bring it to your mind. That's the first quality. All right. The second quality is that hold on, I'm gonna get this word. The way of holding. Okay. The way of holding that object, first of all, is that it's not going elsewhere. Miyangwar. Okay. And we're holding it. And I had struggled with this. And we're holding it Tringnewe. Okay. And in Art Engel's translation, he just says we're holding the object. Like, that's nice. Okay. Holding it tightly. Geshe Michael translated it as tight as glue. Like, you're holding it tight as glue. And I was trying to figure out, and I researched this for like 30 minutes, and it was one of those things where it was like I had an aha moment. All right. Tring. Does anyone know what a tring is? It's a famous book. It's a Nagarjuna book. It's actually it's a short letter to a friend, a tring. Okay. And I'm taking and when you write a letter and you seal that letter, like you seal it with wax, right? And you seal it tightly, right? And so no one else can open up that letter, right? So, I thought of it this morning, actually. It's interesting how like you apply the Dharma. Like, in between classes, I took the trash out because it's trash day, right? And then I went to the mailbox because I don't go to my mailbox every day. I went to the mailbox and it's full of letters, and it rained the last 2 days, and the mail person didn't close the box. Okay, great, thank you. So all the letters are wet, right? And so I was like, oh, they're not tightly sealed anymore, right? The glue on the envelope is now not so tight, and I didn't get any nice letters. I just got bills, which was, annoying. But I had a moment of, now I won't forget what this means. Tringnewa. All right. So you're holding it like the glue that holds a letter together. All right. Provisional translation by Tim. Okay. That was my insight. I'm going to check with the master, but I will let you know. So that's the second quality. The first quality is it's visualized in the front of your mind. Second quality is that you're not wandering off elsewhere and you're holding it together like glue on a letter. Probably they use wax back then, right? And the third quality is that it appears charwar, okay, continuously. Meaning, and this means only, but we're translating it as continuously, that only the object appears, okay? And only the object must appear. Okay. And nothing else. Nothing else appears. You're holding on to it and it's in the front of your mind. All right. Meaning that it's not, you don't have your eyes open and you're not looking at a candle flame. Or you're not in a cold plunge, right? That's not meditation. But we can approximate, right? Those are the three things you must have. Cool. Yay, we're done with problem number 2. Problem number 2 was forgetting the instructions. How do you remember the instructions? Drempa, you bring the object back to mind. All right. So problem 1. So understand here, like, these problems appear in order. Now, some of them can be present, in a fluctuating thing. But problem number 1 is you just ain't meditating. Right? You're not sitting on your cushion. How do you solve problem number 1? Sit down, right? You analyze the benefits. You think about how wonderful it'll be, all the cool things you'll get. You fall in love with it. We did all those things, right? And then you sit your butt down. or you lay down on the ground, or however, whatever works for your body. I had a friend who meditated in an isolation float tank, like a float tank where he would float in the salt water and then turn off all of his senses, right? His body, he was in so much pain that he couldn't sit in meditation. But if he laid down, he would fall asleep. So he created this elaborate, solution, spent a lot of money on it. I helped him install the float tank in his house. It was a lot of fun, right? But the guy floated. That's how he meditated. Whatever works for you. Like, there is a benefit to having your spine straight, but don't worry about that so much. Like, just find something that's comfortable. If sitting on the ground doesn't work for you, sit in a chair. Like, I hurt my knee 2 years ago and I couldn't sit cross-legged. It sucked. It was awful. I hated it. But I was like, well, I could either complain. I could use that as a reason not to meditate, which I did for a while. Okay, I'll admit that. Or I could be like, well, Tim, you could just meditate sitting in a chair or sitting on your couch, right? So just get your butt on the cushion. Once you solve that, now you're trying to meditate, and now you're bringing objects to your mind, and they're not able to stay. And then you work to bring them back. And that's where your meditation, that's the success of your meditation. Just keep coming back. How long does that take, Tim? Well, it depends how good your seeds are. Are you doing things to create that good meditation outside of the meditation? Or are you a jerk outside of your meditation? Do you judge people? Do you criticize people? Do you tell people what they should be doing because you don't like how they're doing it? How do I say this? Your level of daily irritation will dictate how good your meditation is. If your daily irritation is high, your meditation will be lousy. If you can work your irritation karmically and navigate it and bring it down, your meditation is way better, because then your mind won't go off on other things. So now that you're such good meditators, right? Now that you're on the object, right? Congratulations, you've graduated. Okay, whatever. Now we're moving on to the third problem. Jingwangupa, dullness and agitation. Which, by the way, dullness and agitation are present when you're dealing with problem number 2. All right. So there's a little bit of a misnomer here, because the things we're going to learn in this section as solutions also can be some solutions in number 2 to get yourself onto the object. But again, I'm going to say it over and over again, solutions have no karmic power, have no power from their own side. They only have karmic power. I can teach this to you all day long, but if you're not being nice to others, you can forget it. They won't work. Right? So let's read the next line. Next person on my picture who is not translating. Now I know why some of you translate in this class, so you don't have to read. There's some of you I want to see how well you read. Next person is Kristen Deming.
Okay. Gochi
Nushi.
Roshi Semi Tenran Pazin Pana Nipa Zumpa Ying Go Nu Jungla.
Jungla. Nice. All right. Now we've arrived at the moment of, sorry, let's do this backwards. Sinpa means like you've accomplished something, you've done something, something has been done. Okay. Just a verb that means something has been done. What has been done? You've recollected, you brought to mind your meditation object, meaning you've achieved this capacity to bring the object to mind and grasp it tightly like glue on a letter. All right. At that moment, let's call this the main stage of our meditation. The principle, the foundation, like the main party. Okay, now you're at the party. Okay. The first stages were like getting dressed, putting on the nice outfit, putting on the jewelry, doing all the things, making your hair nice, putting on the perfume or the cologne, brushing your teeth, right? All of that stuff. Putting on your makeup. Now you're ready for your meditation. Okay. Now you're ready for the real thing, the real deal. All right. So now we're ready for the real deal. The real deal is now the third problem of meditation. Nepasumpa. Third problem meditation. What arises? Two things arise. Two things arise. Chingwa and Gupa. Chingwa, dullness. Gupa, agitation. Mental dullness and busyness. All right. So cool. Yay. Congratulations. You all have graduated. Your meditation is so good. All right. And actually, the things we're going to learn in here are going to be completely helpful for the rest of your meditation. Well, even if you haven't yet arrived at the main stage, okay, you can still use these, because then you can start recognizing why your mind is moving off the object, right? And the thing is, once you've reached this stage, your mind does move off the object, but a lot less, right? You're developing the capacity to recognize it, or even recognize the moments before you lose the meditation object. You can start feeling the agitation in your body. You can start feeling the prana move. You can start feeling the seed open before it opens. And then you can apply the antidote to prevent it from opening. And of course, that antidote is also, once again, the knowledge on what to do is one thing. To be able to have the knowledge for it is one seed. To be able to have it work for you is a different seed. They're related, of course. But to be in meditation, to be focused on an object, and to feel the disturbance in the force. That's Star Wars translators. You feel the disturbance in the prana. You feel the water moving under the ice, just barely. And then you're like, oh, of course, your mind has moved off of the object and is feeling the other object come on while the other one is still somewhat in your background awareness, something like that. And then you say, nope. And you cut it out. Right? You apply the antidote to stay on the object. When you feel it, you know it. It's like, I can't tell you about it. I can tell you about it, but you have to experience it yourself. All right. Let's see here. Next person who has not read yet. How about Ludmila Podorosko? Is that close?
Me?
Okay. Yes.
Yes. It's my first time.
Yay! Let's go. Everyone, put lots of
I will
hearts
do it.
in the chat for her. Let's sell. All right, here we go.
Te yan chi mo ko pa na ma che na ga mi
Ja.
shavo ja mi sa wo go ma sin patar kyon che wa te tak go sin pa go.
Nice. Okay. Congratulations. If that was your first time, I don't freaking believe it. Good job. So here we go. A few things. This is pronounced way. So it's che way. And we had this earlier. This is a normal thing. This is one sound. No. It's a nasal sound. It's not go, it's no, right? No, something like that. I'm not very good at that sound, so I understand, but we're all learning together. All right, so now we need to, now that we've learned, now we're at the main stage, there's 3 different states of mind that we have to understand. Qing, which is dullness, Qinghua. Mukpa, which is heaviness. This is a new term we've been introduced to. And Gupa, which is agitation. All right, all of those. If you don't know how to distinguish all of those, and I'm taking distinguished here to mean being able to recognize them in your own mind. Like developing the part of the mind that can distinguish what's going on in the rest of the mind. Like the cataloger, the librarian, your inner librarian. Okay, that's how I like to think of it. Like, and frankly, like I like to make these images as enjoyable as possible for me so that I like get excited about it, right? Like, is a librarian interesting to you, like your inner cataloger? Maybe not, but make that librarian enjoyable. Like, sorry, you all know where I'm going. Okay, like the sexy librarian, right? Do something to this like image in your own mind of the capacity that you're developing. Okay, your inner cataloger who's being able to distinguish these 3 qualities that are happening in you, which also then creates a separation between them and recognizing that they aren't you, right? Like you ain't your anger. You're not your sadness. You're not your depression. You're not your happiness, right? If you can develop the state of mind, your sexy librarian, your inner sexy librarian, who's cataloging all the different things going on inside of you, you'll recognize that you're not those things. You are experiencing them. They are part of you happening right now, but you are not them. Okay. Anyhow, so if you're not able to recognize these 3 things, dullness, heaviness, and agitation, okay, it becomes a huge ass problem. Okay, that's Tim's translation. Huge ass problem, big challenge. Kunchewa. All right, and it's failing to recognize Namasinpa, your greatest enemy, the real enemy, Dramishawo. Like that's a big like draw is an enemy, but Dramishawo is also an enemy, but it's like a big enemy, great enemy, like the greatest enemy there is. Okay. It's one of the greatest problems if you're not able to tell these 3 apart. What's heaviness? what's dullness, and what's agitation. If you can't distinguish those three things in your mind, you're not going to be able to your meditation, you won't be able to progress in your meditation. Because these qualities appear in obvious ways. And actually, the most important thing is the way they appear in subtle ways. Because you can be having what you believe is a focused meditation, but you're actually in subtle dullness. And then you're not making any progress, which is actually the primary obstacle of meditation. Subtle dullness is once you get good at meditation, it becomes the most difficult thing to overcome. And so we must recognize them. Dedak, we must recognize Nasimpa. Noisimpa, we need to recognize that, okay? So what are those? What are those three? How are they defined? We will find out next week. Yay! Okay. How do we define those three? My goal is for us, that's class 8. We have 3 more classes in this term. I would like to get through the dullness and agitation section. We are on verse 100. We have to get to verse, I prepared this last night. We have to get through verse 124. So we need to do 24 verses in the next 3 classes. That's 8 per class. And we only did 4 in this class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We did 7 in this class. Okay. That'll be cool. If we can get through we didn't get through the what's the word I'm looking for? Hopefully we can get through all that, so then we can start making some more progress. But anyhow, we're making very good progress in this book. I'm very excited about it. And thank you all for wanting to learn. My goal is for us is I'd like us to get into the meditation chapter by the end of the next term. I don't know if we're going to get there or not, but I'd love for us to get the meditation and emptiness, get into the emptiness chapter. So if we can get through both of those chapters in the next year and a half, then we can publish the book. Because I'd like to publish the Lam Rim in small little books, not in not like 3 big volumes, but in like little like pocket books that we can get people excited about the gift of liberation and the steps on the path. And I think this book of all of them is probably the most important. How to meditate, and then also how to then put emptiness into your meditation. And what does emptiness mean? We will make the Chinese version after we make the English version. Yay. And guess what, Sharon? You can translate. Looks like you just volunteered. Congratulations. And that's why you're all in the class, because you're learning the material so you can translate it well. Get it? You're being taught. So when you actually get the English in its final, then you can easily translate it because you know what it means. Right? And that's why we're spending ages on each of those lines. It's not just the words, it's the ideas behind them. And more importantly, to be a good translator, you have to be a practitioner. I have listened to many translators, and you can tell the difference. And you have to practice. Like, that's why just calmly practice, right? Just relax. You don't have to be crazy. You don't have to do it 5 hours a day. You don't have to do 500 things, just short and sweet. An hour a day meditation is excellent. Half hour is excellent. 5 minutes is excellent, because it was 5 minutes more than you were doing before. And you should rejoice in that. Cool. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you, translators. I hope I slowed down appropriately for you. I tried to watch your faces. And thank you, tech team. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day. And let's say goodbye to each other.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
Adiós, muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Lam.
Ciao. Hey, Brian, the answer to your question